Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Black Momish, The Conversation. And we
Zoom
have
in on
a
my
topic
face.
for you today. Today we're talking about partnerships and privacy.
I mean,
You lost me at privacy.
you
Let's start
lost
there.
me at
You lost
privacy.
me at privacy. So here's the question. So here's the question that we're answering. And I'm gonna look to hold your hand when I say this.
Come on.
If you are in a partnership,
Yes.
with a significant other,
Yes.
and it is exclusive,
Exclusive.
does that mean that your partner
Yes.
has complete and utter privacy? Meaning, like, you don't have the code to his phone, he don't have the code to your phone, you don't have the code to his computer, you know, the little sign on, he don't have the code to yours, email, etc. He gets to have his own life, live his life, and share with you what he wants to share with you, or what that she wants to share with you.
What is your level of access in your relationships? Okay, let's go ahead and tackle this one. This is for the grown people. Okay. Now, I will caveat this by saying this: if you're dating someone, this what I feel does not apply to you. If we're dating, even if we are exclusive in dating, I think that there is a level of privacy that you still retain because this person is not your spouse.
I would agree with that.
Okay, as a married woman, code please. Thank you. I got the code.
Please and thank you.
Please and thank you. And not because I'm looking for something. So let me say this. This is for the mature people. I don't need your code because I'm looking for something.
But now if I choose to look for something.
Now here's the thing though. If I'm looking for something, then I already know what's going on. That's just me personally. If I'm in your phone looking for something, then I already know something is going on. That's how I feel. I feel like if I got to dig, then something as a woman, and I can't speak for men because I don't know y'all intuition levels, but I can speak for mine. If it gets to the point that I'm grabbing your phone to dig through, then I already know something is happening. Whether I can substantiate it or not, there is something that I know. Yeah. Now, outside of that, I've been married for almost 21 years. I have the code to my husband's phone. He has the code to mine. If I need to look inside of his computer, I know the codes for his laptop, right? There is no levels of privacy between the two of us in a sense of if I ask a question, he won't answer and vice versa.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean that I tell him everything and that he needs to tell me everything? No. And that is because there are parts of his life where I don't need to know certain things. Yeah. So in our church community, my husband serves in positions with other pastors and other senior leaders. I don't need that information. That's the level of privacy between him and the clergy and the other people. I don't need that. But when it comes to our personal lives, me and him, oh, Sugarfoot, ain't no privacy.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. If he asks me a question, then I'm going to answer. If I feel like I need to lie, that's a problem.
That is a problem. At the point where you feel like, here's what I'll say, where the lines are. At the point where you feel like you got to delete messages. At the point where you have to put passwords on things and have these private little sections.
Where you need another phone.
Where you need another phone. Or you got another phone. You got a burner phone. You got this. You got that. Then we need a divorce. Because I feel
now,
like...
Nikki, why we got to go straight to divorce?
You know, for me, there's nothing in between. We're getting a divorce. Because at the point where you feel like we are joining lives, we join in finances, we are living in the same house, we join in bodily fluids, but now you want to keep the code to your phone? Sir?
For what?
What's
in there? What are we hiding?
Because I feel like I just don't feel, and it's not
I
even like...
I don't do that hiding stuff. I feel like it's sneaky.
It is.
And my thing is...
I don't even think that it's like... When I say...
If you hide this, what else are you hiding?
And I think that's the question. At the point where your behavior begets question marks, we just need to go ahead and leave each other.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be in a relationship where I don't feel secure.
Yep.
And where I feel like I have to guess as to what you're doing,
Yeah.
who you're doing it with, and all of those things. And I think that also leans into this idea of transparency, omission, and lying.
Yeah.
I think because if you are saying that I want privacy, let me give you this example. On my office, I have a coded door.
Yep.
It is a fingerprint lock on my office door. And the reason I have a fingerprint lock on my office door is because my family, I work for a living from home where I'm doing facilitations often. And I had a sign on my door that said, hey, if this door is closed, do not open it.
Right.
They didn't care.
Like filming in progress.
They did not care.
Right.
They would peek the door open and say what they had to say or do what they had to do, or they felt like my office was like, let me go in there and get something that didn't belong to them. Speaking of my teenager. Phone cords, whatever it is. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a fingerprint lock on my door so then nobody can come in. Now, is there a little key fob that is accessible that certain members of my family know where it's at and they can come in here if they need to? Absolutely. But that doesn't mean that I put that code on my door because I'm like, this is my private area. My husband can't come in here. This is my office. Right. He don't have a right to be in there. At the point where we paid a mortgage on this house together, there's no rooms in this house that are
off
private
limits. Right.
between me and him.
Right.
And I feel like if you have nothing to hide, if my husband took my phone right now and decided to like, hey, let me just see your phone real quick, and he wanted to like look through my emails, I wouldn't care.
I don't care.
It's nothing in there.
Ain't nothing in there.
There's nothing in there that you cannot see. Now, do I feel like you said, I do feel like there's a certain level of privacy. I'm not going through him and his friends' group chats because it might be some private information in there that his friends, because I know some of his friends that I might not need to know. But at the point where it shouldn't be off limits.
Correct.
I feel like if that's my choice to say, I'm not going to go through your
messages because I respect you enough and I respect
to not do that.
Your relationships enough not to do that. So let's talk about
clergy.
Just like the clergy. Like, right. And here's the thing, and I tell people all the time, that is a position that he holds in the church. And I know that there are certain things that happen. There's certain conversations that he hears. I don't need to know that. That's not my business. Yeah. And I'm not asking you to be like, well, in full transparency, you need to tell me everything that sister so-and-so said to pastor. I don't care.
Right.
However, I should be able to go in here. And let me just say this for those of you who are nosy, okay? For the nosy sistering. Come in closer. You gonna go up in there and you gonna find something that's gonna hurt your feelings. And it may not be another woman, but it could be a conversation that he's having with a close friend about maybe something that is concerning for him about you. Yeah. And maybe he wasn't ready to have that conversation. Maybe he just needed to bounce it off of somebody. And now your feelings are hurt and your panties in a bunch because you went in there nosy and you read nosy is me. I did that and I got my feelings hurt. And I was like, I'm not talking to neither one of y'all because y'all don't love me, right? But my husband was just trying to just express himself to somebody that we both love, and I went in there being nosy in my feelings, right? Now, he didn't hide it from me. It wasn't I could get in the phone, but I didn't need to go in there digging for stuff, right? There are also things that he's experienced where he's trying to protect me. And I think that you said something very key is, do we feel safe, right?
Yes.
And if you're lying and if you're omitting things, now I don't feel safe. Now I don't feel like being transparent with you because I don't think that you're being transparent with me. And I think that these are those fine lines that start to turn into big cracks because doors are open where mistrust begins to happen when all we had to do was tell each other the truth. So there are no levels of privacy that are outside of respect for spaces. There ain't no privacy.
But I also think that there's a difference between the truth and transparency. Right? I think there's a difference.
Okay, let's talk about that.
It leans into like omission and lying.
Okay.
Right? I feel like for me, and this might not be for everybody, I feel like truth is telling me the answer when I ask for it.
Okay.
If I ask you for something, if I ask you questions like, hey, what time are you coming home? Where are you going? Who all is going to be there? You'll tell me. I think transparency is, hey, babe, while we were out of town this weekend, I just want to let you know that I'm going to be with a mixed company of men and women. I thought it was just a boys trip, but I found out that women were going to be there.
Right, and I didn't know.
But I'm still going to go. But, you don't have anything to worry about. We're going to go here. We're going to go there. We're going to do this. I think there's a difference. Transparency is giving information without being asked. And I think that transparency
beyond the surface of what I already know.
But even if it's just surface, even if it's just transparency is giving me information without me having to ask. It is just out there. It is just here. I am going to donate or give you this information.
So I'll say something to that.
Because I feel like this is information that I would like to share with you. And I feel like that is what builds trust. I should not have to, you shouldn't be like, oh, I'm going out on Sunday, and you know, and with the boys,
and I'll be back.
Then I see on social media a picture of you and you got your arm around some
6
broad,
chicks.
and it was supposed to be a boys trip.
Right.
I should not see that. Now I have
stunned.
To call you
right.
and say, hey,
what
I just
happened?
Saw this picture on
And
social media, and where did these girls come in, or whatever the case is. And I think it's the same thing with omission and lying. I honestly believe omission of the truth is a lie.
I do too.
I do. I think omission
because
of
it's
the
on
truth
purpose.
Is a lie.
Because you thought about what parts
yes.
to leave out.
Correct.
And not tell me.
Correct.
And then the question then becomes, why did you feel like you couldn't tell me that?
Correct.
Now, I will say this, that some people may feel like if I omit this part, then it protects you.
Right.
If I omit this part, then it keeps us in a safe space. It's not that there's anything wrong with the portion that I'm omitting, but I don't want to say this part to you because I feel like it'll hurt you. Although I know that wasn't my intention, right?
Yeah.
And so do you consider that type of omission? Is there a pass for that? Or is that it doesn't matter? Give it to me and then let me process my feelings however. Maybe let's talk through that. Or would you prefer that a person omits in that space? Do you have a place where omission is okay?
If you throw me a surprise party. Like if you are omitting some aspect of the truth because it is something that let's say I'll say this. I think that in certain situations, let's say something happens to one of my family members and I'm out of town for a grant pitch competition, and while I'm gone, you get a phone call that my mom is in the hospital. And I call you and I say, hey, how was your day today? And you're like, oh, it was good. You know, how was your pitch going? And you omit the fact that my mother told you she was in the hospital because you don't want me to
be unsettled or blow
competition because it's for this big grant.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But if you are omitting facts because you think that you're protecting me from the truth, you're a liar.
That's a problem.
You're a liar.
I think this goes to
straight to you're a liar.
Yeah, I think that this goes to things, especially in marriage and relationships. And I would encourage everyone.
Heavy on you're a liar.
Heavy on you're a liar. Yep. Okay. Guys, I'm going to give you a resource. It's a book called His Needs, Her Needs. It's a book that I would suggest anytime my husband and I have done marital counseling. Is something that, and I think that this is good for people even while they are married, because the reality is that the needs of men and women change over time. Yeah. You get married, you're at a different place in your life. This is what you need today. 5 years from now, that may not be your number one need anymore, and you may not even need that because of life. And so what I would always say to people is I would suggest that you read that book, right? If you've read that book, drop it in the comments. If you're going to go grab it, go grab the book and then come back in the comments and let us know that you grabbed the book, right? And so I'm saying all that to say that everybody has a level of need, right? And I think that transparency is one of those things. Now, that's not listed as a need, but I think that security is. Yeah. Feeling secure is. And if you being transparent and telling me the truth, all of those things together, so even if we defined it separately, truth and transparency are different, I need both of those, right? Yeah. Like, I love my relationship with my husband, right? And it's not without its ups and downs, but there are some spaces where I'm absolutely like, I appreciate that you told me that. So years ago, my husband was in a business where a lot of his community, it was women. And so I remember him coming home one day and saying, hey, I just want you to know that I had a conversation with Charlene. Okay. I had a conversation with Charlene, and I found myself being really, really attracted to her. He said, but I realized it was the conversation, that I was really attracted to the conversation that we were having. And I just wanted to tell you that so that you knew, right?
And now you can never talk to Charlene again.
Ever. And the next time that I see Charlene finna get the eye. Can y'all drop me out? No. Right?
Period.
Okay. I did side eye Charlene. That's not her name, but I did side eye her a few times because I was like, okay, what's she talking about that I can't talk about, right? Okay, but I appreciate that he told me the truth, right? So there was nothing hidden. He didn't feel like he needed to be like, I can't tell my wife that, right? Yeah. Like, I appreciate you telling me transparency. I didn't ask.
Have to ask.
I wouldn't have known to even ask because there was nothing that I would have ever seen that would have given me the indication that anything was going on here or that you felt any kind of way other than this person being a part of your business, right? Yeah. But I appreciate that he gave me the respect and the courtesy of being transparent. Now, I've not done everything right. However, even in those moments, I'd be like, if he asks me a question, yep.
You tell him the truth.
Well, let me see your phone. Here.
Yeah.
If you want, like, I just don't, here's my thing. If I feel like I gotta hide it, there's something wrong.
There's something wrong at the point, again, like at the point where you're deleting messages or you are omitting things because you think it is going to upset me, like, to me.
Then you shouldn't have done it.
Then you shouldn't have done it. One. And two, you don't trust the strength of our relationship enough to think that I can handle whatever it is that you are going to tell me.
But sometimes, can we really handle it?
But I think that's the...
Because for me,
but don't make that decision for me.
Okay, and that's the part that I can appreciate. Because reality is that I may not be able to handle it. It may take me some time to process it. I may have additional questions.
Right.
I may feel a kind of way.
But don't take away my right to choose.
And
do not take away my right to choose.
And I think that that's the part, is that a lot of times in life as a whole, we make decisions for another person.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to say this to them because they're going to. Like, my daughter has this thing where she's like, well, I'm not going to ask them because they're going to say. And I'm like, did you ask? I'm like, how do you know what somebody is going to say if you haven't asked them the question? And so I think a lot of times in our own minds, in our own insecurities, we feel like, I don't want to upset the ecosystem. But the reality is that the ecosystem is already upset. The minute that you feel like you don't want to upset it, you're upsetting it. Additionally, you're holding things. And you can't hold stuff. Well, some people will take things to the grave.
To the grave, baby.
I am not let me say this. I am a holder of secrets. You can, listen, let me explain something to you about me. You can tell me just about anything. And I do mean you can tell me anything. Promise you, the minute that we finish that conversation, sweetheart, what was we talking about? Real talk. I can go home to my husband and he'll be like, so how was it? What did y'all talk about? I'm like, it was good. We talked about a lot. Right? Because there's a level of privacy there between me and my friend, me and the group. There are things that are... Me and my cousin, like I said, we traveled this week. There's some things, right? But do you know that there? No,
because you don't want to. You don't want to upset the apple cart.
But there are some people who feel like you should hold nothing. I know people who feel like if you and I know people who are married, who have had conversations with friends.
My spouse knows.
And if you tell me my spouse knows, I'm not that type of,
no, I'm not either.
It shouldn't be no privacy.
I'm not either.
I'm the type of, that's not your business. And furthermore, it's not my business to share. And in this relationship, just because you're my spouse doesn't mean that I need to come and tell you everything that I talked about with somebody else.
But I think that's different privacy than,
but some
I'm not
people
gonna give
feel
you the
like
code
you
to my
should
phone.
tell me everything.
But I think that's a different level of privacy than I'm not going to give you the code to my phone.
True.
Because I don't want you to, because why? I think I understand I understand that when you get married, yes, biblically the two become one, all the things. Yes. I get all of that. However, you still are two very individual people who have your own lives and your own business.
Are still two very individual people that have chosen to build a life together. Your together does not fuse your brains.
Correct.
It does not fuse your emotions.
Yes.
It does not fuse your person. It means that we choose to walk life together, supporting each other,
Yeah.
building each other individually, and then coming together collectively and saying, we're going to build this thing that we have together. Let me help y'all, because some of y'all, y'all be a little confused and you be losing yourself. And then once you find yourself, then your spouse looking at you like, wait, who is this? Because you want a divorce. So be really, really mindful about, it's okay to retain your individuality and build. And
keep those relationships that you have with people
sacred.
And that level of privacy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to have a conversation with my girlfriend who might be telling, like, the two of us are friends. I know her husband.
Yeah.
He is also my friend.
Yeah.
If she comes to me and tells me something about him or is having a hard time or whatever the case is, I'm not going back and telling him.
Yeah.
That is not because that relationship is between me and her.
Right.
I'm and the same vice versa.
Correct.
I am not now if somebody says, hey, can you talk to, if he comes to me and says, hey, can you talk to Jacinta about this, and this, and 9 times out of 10, he'll say, I already told her that I'm talking to you about this thing. I do have relationships like that.
Yeah.
Like, would love your opinion on this, and this. Other than that, those things are private.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm definitely not going to have a conversation with my girlfriend and then go back and tell my husband, this is what happened with so-and-so. Unless it is a situation where my girl is like, man, my husband is abusive, or my husband did this last night.
And you
this,
need
this,
that
and this,
perspective, or you need him to go intervene.
Right. Then I'm going to go be like, hey, you need to go.
So we're rolling out at dawn,
right? You need to go holler at so and so because his wife just said, "Go check on him."
Right.
Or I might be like, "Hey, do me a favor, go check on so and so's husband because most of my friends and my husband's friends, we know of each other."
Right.
So it might be like, "Hey, I spoke to Charlene, and Charlene told me that
Charlene,
her husband,
we apologize if that's your name. It's not you. We just threw out a name.
We just threw out a name.
Yeah.
And I might be friends with Charlene, and she married to David, and David knows my husband, and she might be like, David has been drinking a lot lately, and he's having a hard time. And I might go to Andrell and be like, hey, why don't you go check on David?
Mm-hmm.
And he might be like, why? And I might be like, just go check on David. I might do something like that
without giving all the details.
The details and the information, but I don't think that it should be like my private life, your private life, and we just happen to be doing our private lives together in the same house. I don't believe in that, nor do I believe that we should just be walking around here omitting information because I don't want you to react in a certain kind of way. Give me the respect and dignity to respect to react in the way that I'm going to react. Yeah. Because to me, if I'm out here wilding and I'm doing something I don't have no business, then I should be grown enough to take whatever the impact of my actions are.
Yep.
And if I'm out here cheating, if I'm out here getting somebody else's phone number, if I'm out and I come to you or you find out and you see in my phone is some dude like sending me emojis and I'm up at 1:00 in the morning texting with some
leaning
dude,
over like phone buzzing.
Right.
Wait, hold on now.
Who is that? And I'm like, oh, it's this guy I met at the bar. Right. It's Charlene. I met this guy at the bar and I just happened to get his phone number. He seemed cool. Then whatever your reaction is,
it's gonna be your reaction.
I gotta eat that because this is a choice that I made.
Yeah. Do you believe in private friends?
No.
So do you believe that your spouse or significant other, and let me not say significant other because I'm going to keep it, because if I'm dating and I got friends that you don't know, oh well, right?
Yeah.
But if we're married, do you believe that either spouse should be able to have relationships with people that your spouse doesn't know?
Know how? Like kicking it with them or just know of?
Let's say kicking it.
I should know that they exist.
Okay.
It shouldn't be like,
hey, I'll be back.
Yeah, I mean, I've only been married this amount of time. Mm-hmm. You had a life outside of me.
Right.
So
before
it's not that Andrea knows a bazillion people.
Yeah.
That he went to high school with. That you know, he's like, oh, that's so-and-so I went to high school with. I don't expect him to give me a dossier of all of his friends and with pictures and be like, these
but
are all
you know, there
friends.
are people who need that, right? Like,
that.
I know somebody right now who needs a whole file folder about how you met that person.
No, I don't
how
need
you
all
know
of that.
And they not even cool like that.
No,
like we knew
that.
each other 20 years ago
no,
and I happened to see you somewhere and then the next time you see that person, you've read off to them how they met your person and they like, how do you even know that because
No.
you don't went and asked for a whole file
No.
on how you know them, where they come from, blah, blah, blah.
I don't need that level of, but
like,
it should not be this list of all of these brand new, these are teams.
Like, I ain't never such and such called you, and you like, who is that? Like, we've been married for 15 years, and who is that?
Who is that? I've never heard this person's name.
Yeah.
I never heard of her. And now all of a sudden, this is your friend?
Or all of a sudden, my homie is in town. They want us to go out for breakfast or lunch.
Now, see, that I can agree. If it's somebody,
but you don't know them.
But if it's somebody who, if all of a sudden he's like, oh man, my homeboy who I was in the military with is in town, and man, he wants to know if we can go out to eat. Okay.
Right.
That's different.
Yeah.
Then now all of a sudden, me and
you have a full friendship, relationship, y'all hanging out, y'all talking on the phone, y'all texting, whatever, and I don't know this person.
And I would say too that it's different if it's of the opposite sex. If it's some dude that I ain't never heard of,
you don't
go
care.
Live your best life. But if it's a list of broads that all of a sudden you like, yeah, we going kicking it and we going out of town and we doing this, hold the phone. Where'd they come from?
Mm-hmm.
And these are your friends?
Yeah.
No, I just don't believe in that. What about you?
I don't think that we should have private friends. I don't feel like you got to be friends with my friends. Like, I don't feel like you got to be friends with my friends type thing, because I just understand that's just not going to happen. And I don't necessarily feel like I got to be friends with your friends, right?
Yeah.
I do believe that there is a level of, to our point, of transparency where, like, I shouldn't have to ask you who this person is. You can tell me who this person is. Yeah. Like, I have friends from the neighborhood, right? And by the time I got married, these are people that I absolutely grew up with, but they weren't invited to my wedding, right? Like, I ain't seen y'all in X number of years, blah, 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 but we grew up together. And so I remember being on the phone with a friend of mine, and we were catching up and talking, and my daughter was like, I'm telling Daddy. And I said, okay, right? And so she's like, Daddy, Mama was on the phone with such and such. And I was like, you know him, like we were friends here. Yeah. I met him through. He was like, oh yeah, I think I remember him. Now, again, it also depends on your spouse, because my husband, I'd be like, I talked to you about him. We were friends when we were 15, and he don't care to remember. Like, he'd be like, blah, blah, blah. But I don't, in that instant, it may be, to your point, it may be somebody that, like, oh, I saw a post on Facebook. I said something, and you was like, oh my God, it's so good. Send me your number. And we were close enough for me to be like, of course. And then we call and we have a conversation. I'd be like, oh, I talked to such and such today.
But that
they
goes
didn't
back
ask.
To transparent.
Correct.
Transparency.
He ain't got to come home and be like, who did you talk to today? Not that he would, because that's a weird question to just walk in and ask. Yeah. But he come home, hey, how was your day? It was good. I talked to my friend from the neighborhood, right? Transparency. All you did was ask me about my day. I did not omit that I talked to this person, but I told you, hey, I talked to my friend, blah, blah, blah. It was a guy. He was one of my guy best friends growing up, you know, so forth and so on. Ain't nothing else, right? There's nothing else to that. But I think, to your point, privacy, does, real talk for me, privacy don't exist. It don't exist in our relationship. It's not in a marriage. Not in a marriage. It's like, no, we ain't got no privacy. I know what you know. Outside of those components,
there's some levels of privacy.
There's some levels to it. There's some levels. But when we talk about, like, if you like, he don't need the code to my phone.
Why not?
Why not? He don't need to know that I got a rainy day bank account. Now, let's talk about that. Come on, let's talk about that. Do you have a secret? Now, let me not ask you that, because we on camera. Do you believe? Okay.
I'm back.
I'm going to talk about myself.
Yep.
I do not have a secret account. I do have a personal account, but my husband is very well aware of that account, and my husband is on that account for this reason. If anything ever happened and he needs access to anything, he has it. I trust him enough, and he trusts me enough, that I'm not finna go and clean you out. I'm not finna go and just take money out because, oh, I'm trying to get my hair done. Let me go grab your money. Like, I can care less, right? I can care less. But he is aware that I have
your own bank account.
My own bank account.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But in that regard, do you think that that's a level of privacy where if you got a rainy day fund, that it's something that your spouse doesn't know about?
Let me ask y'all that. Let me ask y'all a question because I'm not answering that. Let me ask y'all a question.
She's
Do
pleading
you
the
think
fifth.
that there should be, that privacy should extend to finances?
Or shouldn't?
Do you think? So go ahead and answer that right down in the comments.
Yeah.
I want you to answer that question. Do you think, one, is there privacy in your marriage? And two, do you think that privacy should extend to finances? That is something that I'm very curious about.
And
I
separate
have my
from that
thoughts
question
about finances and privacy and all of those
Right.
things, and we'll save those for another episode.
Yes.
But for this episode, we are going to wrap this thing up with you letting us know what you think about privacy and relationships.
Yeah.
And we're talking about marriage relationships, not dating relationships, but we're talking about marriage.
Yeah.
Do you think that privacy exists in those relationships,
Or should
exist?
not? Yeah.
And you can add on top of that, do you think an omission of the truth is a lie? I think it does.
I do
She
too.
thinks it does.
Yeah.
Interested to see what you think. Cannot wait to read your comments. Y'all know we replying to every single one of them.
Every single one.
Catch us on the next episode, y'all. It's going to keep getting better.